Ahem. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rakon here with another anime review, and this one is kind of interesting. It's called Aria, the Scarlet Ammo. And surprisingly, Aria is not the main character. The main character's name is Kinji. I'll get through that later, alright? Let's go over with the story first. The story is it's sort of a high school scenario. It's a high school about buteis, and buteis are pretty much mercenary. The world, it's set in the future, the world is a lot more peaceful now. So there are schools that train average teenagers to become police officers, to become mercenaries, to catch criminals. Because it's not apparently other countries are worried about now, it's the terrorists and common criminal organizations now that they are worried about. So people have created this thing called Butei Academies, which trains students to become buteis. And our main story centers around Kinji Toyama, who is currently trying to exit his life of being a butei, because he does not really prefer it for some unknown reason. Unfortunately, this is one of those 12-episode series that you're not going to get a lot of background information. When they do give background information, the series cuts. Just a little warning for you, but this show is still good. I still have to give it some props. And this show can be divided into 3 different sections. The Butei Killer arc, which is like the first 4 episodes. Then the Durandal arc, which is like the next 4 episodes. And the Vlad arc, which is, again, the next 4 episodes. Interesting, this show is perfectly cut into 3s. Anyway, let's go over the characters. Kinji. He is the badass. And he is one of 2 guys in this series that you really ever pay attention or remember their names. That are on the good side, pretty much. But good thing is, this is not like one of those harem animes. Because Kinji does not like every girl. In fact, as far as we know, he only likes 1, maybe 2. It's kind of confusing. And he does not try to go after the girls. And he is strictly not a pervert, even though he gets into situations like all animes do that make him a pervert, really. It's really quite complicated on his part, but I personally like him. He's calm, collective, he knows himself, but in the end, he'll always do the right thing. And also, I like his sort of superpower. Pretty much, he has a split personality. Though his split personality doesn't have a name, he just calls it, hysteria mode. Pretty much, if his heart beats fast enough, he'll become this super badass. Pretty much if he gets into combat too long, or if, unfortunately, like all animes, if he looks at a girl too long, or sees them pretty much almost naked, he will also turn into this mode. But even in this mode, he is not a pervert. It just means he is combat ready. The story really doesn't revolve around him really too much. Sure, he's a big part of it, but you don't really get to see too many connections to this story connected to him. Really, it's about Aria, even though she has really half the screen time Kinji does. Aria Holmes Kenzaki, and like her middle name suggests, she is a descendant of Sherlock Holmes. And I do have no idea why they needed to include that. She does not remind me of Holmes at all, and in fact they make several jokes about it. Even Kinji being Watson, but she is the lead female protagonist. And yes, she does have feelings for Kinji that develop over the course of the series. And I find it funny because she looks like a 12-year-old, when in fact, she's like 18. She's the same age as Kinji, and it's rather hilarious. She is also known as the Quadra, wielding 2 guns and 2 blades. Pretty much equals 4. But she's annoying and constantly thinks she's better than Kinji and everyone else. And this goes on to the next character, and the thing I really, really hate about this anime. Because Aria thinks she's so good that Kenji should be behind her. Like, seriously, what the fuck? You don't want your partner behind her, you want him by your side. Same with Shiryuki, Kenji's childhood friend. Shiryuki considers Kenji to be a weakling. So weak that she refuses to use any of her powers in his presence because she fears it will scare him. She does not want him to get hurt to the point where she will try anything she can to get him out of combat. Seriously? What the fuck? He can cut bullets in half with a pocket knife. He is able to take down 8 guns in 3 seconds. He is by far the epitome of OP. Sort of, when he's in hysteria mode. But still, you don't want him behind you. You want him in front of you, if anything. And apparently, these two don't understand that. One, Aria considers Kenji to be lesser, a slave, for some odd reason, even though he helps her. Kenji even considers Aria annoying, but still feels like he needs to help her. Aria is just this whiny little girl that with no friends, and not only that, she really isn't the smartest person. She may be combat ready, but she's yeesh. Ugh. She doesn't even know what the basics of the human biology is, which is quite interesting. And Aria's entire reason for going to Japan is because her mother has been framed because the terrorist organization framed her for something. You don't exactly know what, but apparently Aria's mother's been framed for something so badly, she's been imprisoned for, she's going to be imprisoned, and her sentence is over 800 years. And they never explained how or why. And it just blows my mind. Like, it's just one of those plot holes that is pretty much Swiss cheese. And Shiryuki is a sheltered girl with the ability of fire. Shiryuki is a childhood friend of Kenji, like I mentioned before. But she is by far the strangest anime character I have ever been in front of. She is embarrassed when people look at her, like, scandalously, but she does not mind Kenji. In fact, she will willingly strip in front of Kenji, if needed to. And she's even willing to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning for him. And the only reason she's so head over heels for this is because one day her parents or something were late to take her to the fireworks when they were little, so he brought her to the fireworks show. There's no real reason behind why she acts so... I don't like her, if you can tell. She doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And in fact, I don't even know why she's there. If I was Kenji, I would have told her, go home. Because even though she is good at combat, she is fucking psychotic and has gotten Aria and Kenji into death traps more than once because she's afraid to let them... Well, she's afraid of getting Kenji injured. She's more than willing to let Aria die. She has even tried to kill Aria more than once, even poison her. Which is getting ridiculous. And I find it really creepy as hell that she's there. Or even why she's being allowed at school. Because she has willingly attacked fellow students for even sharing umbrellas with Kenji. Like, she'll give Joker a run for his money for being so psychotic. Or I guess obsessive over one person. I mean, but let's move on to the person I consider to be the main antagonist. And that person I consider to be the main antagonist is, in fact, apparently not. But I consider her to be the main antagonist because she's in a morally gray area. Riko. She is a blonde, I guess, really seductive character. She is, yeah, that explains it. She is manipulative, and she is friendly to the main characters at some point, but at other points, she flat out tries to kill them. Rico is apparently a descendant of Lupin, Arsène Lupin, the French thief. And the whole reason for she's being there is to try and kill Aria. When that doesn't work out, she tries manipulating both Aria and Kenji. In fact, she manipulates fellow bad guys, mainly Durandal, to the point where Durandal leaves and joins the good guys. And so, because of that, I consider her to be antagonist. Because she manipulates everyone, even though sometimes she does manipulate the bad guys to help the good guys. We don't know what the hell is going on in her head. Their side, she's just doing whatever she wants to do. In fact, I don't even know why she's sticking around. At the end of the series, she kills the guy she wants to kill, and she has absolutely zero, and I mean zero, reasons for even being there. And so, I have no idea what she's doing, but clearly she's still being manipulative. Let's move on to the 3 side characters. Well, that regularly show up. Muto, Kenji's best friend, and by far, the character I wanted to see more of. Well, second character I wanted to see more of. Muto is the guy that he is by far the pervert of the group. But he is a bro. A solid bro willing to help his friend in any situation possible, even when his friend is almost being killed by his fellow classmates. And Muto has even helped them land a plane, a regular transport plane carrying passengers, and he's helped them land it in the black of night during a storm. He is apparently the transporter of the group. He has taken the wheel of several different vehicles, and in all honesty, I wish I could see more of him. Because even in the OVA, he complains that he hasn't gotten enough action. And I feel he should have gotten enough action, because most of the series is wasted on fan service, really, and a bit unnecessary fan service. Some fan service I can understand, but Shirayuki just trying to strip in front of Kenji. Anyway, let's move on to, by far, my favorite character, and the one that Kenji should actually be partnered with, because she makes sense. She actually partnered her with one episode, Reki. Reki, she has a sniper rifle, and by far, she is probably the best sniper I have ever seen in an anime. When you're able to literally make a sniper round rub against the back of a feral Siberian wolf to make him paralyzed without him even shedding an ounce of blood is OP as hell. She is the sniper of the group, and unfortunately she really has only gotten one episode to where she helps out. She is by far one of the best characters in that show. Especially since she is a silent deadly type, and that wolf she paralyzed, she took in as a pet. That wolf does everything she says, and even the OVA helps them play ping pong. Yeah, she's pretty badass. And the third and final side character that I have to say really does help out and shows how much Rico manipulates people, because Jean d'Arc, the 38th. Jean d'Arc, I have to say, as you know, Jean Arc, the Crusades and stuff, how she was burned at the stake, apparently that didn't happen in this universe. Apparently she still lived and had children, and this is her descendant. Jean Arc is probably a much better character, and really shows how much Rico manipulates people. Because she got apparently so tired of it, she switched sides, and is now on Kenji's and the other side. She's a bit conflicted at first, especially since she still wants to kill Kenji for ruining her and pretty much destroying Durandal. It's quite interesting seeing their dynamic. Because at one point, she does want to help them. At another point, she just wants to beat the living shit out of the guys who beat her. Unlike the other characters, she does not have any feelings toward Kinji. And in fact, she wants to murder him. But I wish we got to see more of her, because she was definitely interesting, especially with her ice powers. She could freeze things solid. I find it quite interesting because powers in this world apparently also affect the users. Because Shirayuki, again, has the power of flames, but she can also get burnt. The same with Jean Arc. She has powers over ice, but yet even she admits that she has chronic hands and feet, which is quite interesting. And also, they never explain how powers are exactly gotten in this series. It just sort of more or less happens. In all honesty, other than the characters, the show wasn't too bad. The story did switch up from time to time, but it wasn't too bad, with a few hidden mysteries, I guess. In all honesty, I wish they would have kept the mysterious feel of the Butte Killer. Because the Butte Killer was out killing Buttes with machines, so they wouldn't be traced back to him. I wanted that. I liked the sense of mystery. It made it feel like Holmes, like actual Sherlock Holmes. That's what I thought the series was going to be about when I heard Aria was the descendant of Sherlock Holmes. But no, she's actually quite useless in that department. In fact, Kendry's the one that actually deduces the things and is the Sherlock Holmes, but he is considered the Watson. So, but other than that, I have to say, not a bad series. I sat down, watched the first episode, like, early in the morning, and I finished the last episode pretty much the next day. It was really good. It got me hooked on. Even though I may be bagging on it, I can't help but like the series. It was good. It had its really funny moments. The characters pretty much stayed true. It was unique. It definitely had some of its surprising moments, which I did not expect. But, other than that, the animation and sounds worked really, really well with the series. I mean, the animation was perfect. But, still, the thing is, though, I have to mention is that it is apparently good enough to come with a second season. The second season will be coming out earlier next year. I will watch it. Aria, the Scarlet Ammo, AA, which I'm wondering why it's called that. But the show isn't bad, but it makes me want more, and it makes me want answers, pretty much. Pretty much, if this was like a video game, I would call it sequel bait. Because that's what it got from me. I'm wondering Kinji's past, but clearly he has extensive combat experience, but he does not want to be in combat. We don't find out why. Aria, she has had extensive training, more than Kinji, and yet she's fearful of people and people dying. Shirayuki, you find out later in the series, other than school and the monastery, which she apparently is a priest at, she is not allowed to leave. You don't find that out at all. And I want to see more of the other characters, because they're awesomer than Shirayuki and Aria. And I am actually looking forward to the next season. But, again, I am not 100% sure. I'm trying to put a number on this right now, because with everything included, I will say this. If the second season is better than the first season, I will give this an 8 out of 10. A recommendation to buy the DVDs. That's if the second season is better, way better, than the first season. Because this series was good, it was enjoyable, and clearly it was good enough to get a second season. At the end of it, it just left me with so many questions. I want to give it a 6 out of 10 because of how many questions they left out. But with how much good action, good comedy was in it, I want to give it a 7. So I'll split it with like a 6.9 or a 6.8. Can't really give a 6.5. I feel that's a bit too low. But I do believe if you want good comedy and good action, and I have to say, remember Article 1, my friends. Remember it. Rack on out.